Yarra Valley wine, as good as it gets today for you folks. G'day guys, Tom and Wade here from Different Drop. And we are doing a deep dive today on one of our very favourite Australian producers. A producer that's been very close to our heart for a long time, Wade.
Absolute legend, Shaun Crinion at Dappled Wines. So what do you reckon first bottle of Dappled we bought was? Like 14 Appellation Chardonnay, maybe 13.
I remember it just blew our brains.
Unbelievable.
The guy can make some seriously good wine at ridiculous prices. That's part of his mission statement. If you look at his website, he says he wants to make quality, unadulterated wines from special patches of dirt at realistic prices. And I think that's something that Shaun's managed to do over the years. So, small producer in the Yarra Valley. Shaun, do you want to pour some Chardonnay, mate?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Give the spiel on Shaun. So,
donk.
You're right there?
Yeah.
So Shaun actually found out that he started his winemaking journey. He was on a surf trip to California.
Yeah?
About 20 years ago.
I can't imagine Shaun surfing.
I can't imagine going to California at the moment.
Yes.
You can imagine Shaun surfing? Yeah, he's pretty laid back sort of fella.
Yeah, he's pretty chill.
And he had an uncle living in California who was a winemaker, and he did some casual work on the winery, and then obviously caught the bug and fell in love with it, and came back to Australia, and he's got some CV. He's worked at in Margaret River places like Devil's Lair and Horton, Bay of Fires in Tassie, Coldstream Hills as well. Lots of great.
Some time at Shandon.
Sorry, it's Shandon. Shandon. Back to California. He's done a shift in Burgundy too, which I imagine has helped fine tune his style. Because what Shaun is all about, primarily, is Chardonnay and Pinot. Sadly, no Pinot this year, but we've got a couple other fantastic reds. And we're going to have a look at these wines because, as I said, I think these are some of the best quality for dollar wines that you'll find in Australia.
Pound for pound, yes.
And he's got the accolades to sort of back that up. He's been nominated 100%. For Best Value Winery. He was just number 35 in James Halliday's top 100 wineries in Australia.
It's pretty crazy. He's like a one-dude operation, basically.
I know.
And he makes like a tiny amount of booze. So to be in the top 50 wineries in the country is a pretty epic shout, really. That's very cool.
Good on you, Shaun. We love you, Shaun. So, Chardonnay. I think probably Wade and I would both agree for all the wines he does, Chardonnay is where it's at.
Dude can make Chardonnay. Yes.
Seriously, Chardonnay. And he's got an amazing little cheap Yarra Valley Chardonnay called the Appellation. We're not tasting that today because we're almost sold out of that one. But get it if you see it. It's ridiculous. But what we do have, he's just released his 2 single-site Chardonnays. The one that Wade's poured here is the Les Verges. Le Verge. 2022 Chardonnay from the Yarra Valley, specifically from the Seville sub-region of the Yarra Valley. So Seville is quite central in the Yarra, so further south of Healesville, that kind of tourist area. It's a little township in Seville, starting to head towards that kind of upper Yarra Valley, cooler climate, higher altitude sites, and on those famous, rich red volcanic soils that you get in the Yarra.
Yeah, and look, the real signature of Shaun's Chardonnay style is like they're flinty, they're funky, they're like really tight, really like linear sort of minerally Chardonnays. And he packs insane energy in the glass. They're like phenomenally like really wound up, really precise wines.
But with weight too.
Yeah.
So the wines are all sort of hand-picked. It's all very gentle, whole clusters of fruit there. Mostly older oak, combination of oak, French oak and barriques. Mostly older oak. He doesn't want big oak characters, but he definitely works with lees. So this spent a fair bit of time on lees with batonnage, a little bit of malolactic fermentation, I dare say. So what you're getting is this incredible purity from really great vineyards.
Yeah.
And then he works in texture. He likes flavour, Shaun.
Yeah. So I love the fact that you can see virtually no oak in this wine. Like it sits way in the background. Like whatever portion, like 25% new oak, that just gets eaten by this fruit.
Yeah.
It's like if you like tighter, like really linear sort of cool climate Chardonnay, but as you say, like that packed power and
Powerful.
Flavour. Yeah. Man, these are absolutely smoking wines.
Some of the best Chardonnays in Australia and value-wise as well.
Ooh, dude,
it's got that little bit of that kind of cap gun struck match kind of.
There's always that little bit
character.
of a sulfidey, slightly flinty,
just a little
reductive note.
It just kind of makes you look for it. Yeah. Very, very cool.
Even in his cheaper Chardonnay, which is why like the appellation, which is why that's been just the ultimate go-to Yarra Valley Chardonnay for like the last 10 years, really. Yeah. When it's around, because it sells out so quickly. But that's always got like that little bit of a reductive sort of funk to it as well, which you don't normally see in that sort of more approachable price point of Chardonnay. Yeah. But it's like these are serious freaking wines,
and they age so well. Yeah. So we were in the Yarra Valley last year, of course, and I had a bit of a barbecue with some of the winemakers down there, and Shaun came along and brought a bottle of what was the vintage?
It was 12.
12, I reckon. 11 or 12. It was early.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been 11, probably 12 of this wine, basically. Yeah. Of the Yarra Valley Chardonnay. And it was a baby.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It was a crazy wine. That was almost like wine of the day. It was that.
Everyone's like, what the hell is that?
Yeah. Unreal. So, yes, long story short, if you find any bottle of Chardonnay with Dapple on the label, just buy it because it will be awesome. Red hot. Not spitting that, Tom.
Well, I'm going to give you the spittoon anyway because we're responsible here at Different Drops. Stay safe, everyone.
I'm at work.
All right, now this is a bit of an interesting one for Shaun. You're our Frenchman.
Sur le crête.
Sur le crête.
That sounds delicious, doesn't it?
Like a crepe.
Yeah, it sounds like a pastry. Yum.
Well, what it means is on the ridge.
On the ridge.
Because this comes from the main ridge sub-region, not in the Yarra Valley, in the Mornington Peninsula way.
Yeah, so this is Shaun's first little venture outside of the Yarra.
Shaun lives down that way, I think.
Does he?
I'm pretty sure
he drove all the way up to Luce.
Yeah. Right. I'm sure he went for an epic drive to get to us at the barbecue. Good on you, Shaun. So Mornington Peninsula, further south, obviously on the bay there. Main ridge is kind of south central on the peninsula, so towards the bottom, towards the tip, but a higher altitude kind of centrally. Again, on similar soils, actually, what you get are several really rich red volcanic soils, and higher altitude there, and a wonderful site.
Oh my God, man! Wait till you try that. So this is this is the first vintage that he's gone Mornington fruit. It's always just been Yarra, but there was a Mornington Pinot earlier this year that came and went very quickly. Really delicious. But this is unreal.
It's got a bit more on the nose, a bit more nougaty. More of that biscuity kind of character.
You can definitely see like Mornington fruit's always going to be like a little bit more broad-shouldered than Yarra Valley. And the flavour intensity, I think, is ramped up even a notch here as well.
Yeah, if you call this kind of medium to full-bodied, I mean, it's a complicated scale because there's so much intensity, but this has just extra richness, doesn't it? Much more luscious.
Dude.
Wow, what a wine, though.
Oh, my God. Shaun has nailed that.
This is our, maybe we're great actors, but this is our first look at these wines. So very generously dropped some samples off, and aside from the Cabernet, which we've tried, but these three single vineyard wines, it's our first peek at these, so we've been very excited.
And I always get so pumped up to taste these wines because they're, like in terms of volume, it's like only a few hundred cases of these are made, so they sort of come and go really quickly. I know everyone in Shaun's life has been onto him for years to like raise the prices because they always sell out so quickly. The demand's insane for them, but he's just like, nah, I want to offer value. I think these wines deliver at that price.
The value has been extraordinary. I mean, they've crept up in the last couple of years out of necessity, but even then, they're still amongst the very best value wines in Australia, to be honest. For that style, for Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Cabernet blend, like amazing stuff. And even forgetting about the price point, that just quality, complexity, power, but detail as well, far out.
Man.
2022, what a good vintage. So the second in the middle of the three La Nina vintages. And so cool, but not quite as cool as 21. So you still get some warmth, some flavour and power in those wines, but with the incredible acidity, which is so important.
Yeah. A lot of Victorian 22 Chardonnays, you can see they almost have like a little bit more puppy fat or something at the moment. Like there's a lot of flavour packed into quite a tight frame. So I think it really feels like one of those vintages that's going to be a great cellaring vintage. Yeah. Like not dissimilar to something like 17. Like those 17s were a little bit tighter, a little bit leaner as young wines. I think the 22s have more flesh on the bone, but they look great. And that's just outstanding.
Wow.
Smash that.
How good we get to drink these tonight.
Yes.
The rock, paper, scissors for the... I don't know which one I prefer. They're both...
Yeah, I'll rock off. Yep. All right. So
Which one do you prefer?
I think actually weirdly, like I love his Yarra stuff, but I'm in love with that Mornington Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Hey, like I think that's a beast.
Yeah, he's a beast. All right, speaking of beastly wines, this I don't think will be one of those.
No.
I mean, look at the colour, Wade. It's quite light. This is Syrah, right?
So it kind of looks like Pinot.
It kind of looks like Pinot.
Yeah.
So this comes from Steele's Creek. So up in the kind of northwestern part of the Yarra, warmer sites, definitely Shiraz country up there.
Best part of the Yarra to make Shiraz from, basically.
Yeah. I mean, the Yarra is an amazing place because you think it's a region.
Yeah.
I mean, you go right down to the south to Marxie's joint, you're like in a tropical rainforest.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Down in Jamrook,
Cool.
you're talking about.
Yeah. And then you get up and you got kind of the, upper Yarra on the edge of the mountains there, and it's kind of more gravelly and whatever. And then you head further north and it looks almost like, not a desert, that's a bit dramatic, but it's dry.
Yeah, it's dry.
And
it's Aussie bush.
Aussie bush, right?
Yeah,
and you're up into Shiraz country and Cabernet and Merlot and like Rhone Valley white varieties and things like this. So fascinating place and a good 60, 90-minute drive from one end of the Yarra to the other.
Which Tom did in about 37 minutes one morning with me in the car when we were late for an appointment with Sarah Crow.
You don't keep winemakers waiting, mate. I'm a professional, and we had time to keep.
Mate, yeah, the little what do they say, that there's no car faster than a hire car?
That's definitely true that weekend.
All right, so Syrah Shiraz. So this is
bunchy,
100% bunch.
Yeah,
right. And so it does have like a little smokiness to it, and lots of that sort of cracked pepper and purple and blue and like black fruit.
Yeah.
And you can see just a little touch of that sort of herbal green stemmy note as well.
Definitely.
But it's just like really beautifully balanced on the nose. So it's just wonderful, wonderful perfume in the glass.
So he picks, again, this is a vineyard that all these sites are 30 to 40 years old as well. And on their own rootstocks, I believe. I read some of them at least. This is hand-picked, as Wade said, 100% whole bunches of berries and, all the stems and stalks and everything going into a big tank. And then it's sealed and forgotten about for 2 weeks to undergo what's called carbonic maceration, which basically means you're letting the ferment naturally kick off without breaking and crushing any of the grapes. So the ferment starts to happen inside the berries, which just creates a different character in the wine. You get wines that are a bit softer, less tannin, and these lovely kind of fragrant, juby kind of characters.
Carbonic maceration is like the famous winemaking technique they use in Beaujolais to get those bright, juby, sort of, really delicious, really sort of bright bounce out of the glass reds. And so it works beautifully with this sort of really elegant mode of Syrah, because the bunchiness actually gives you the spice and a little bit more tannin, a little bit more backbone and shape to it. But how delicious is the fruit? Like, it's really succulent, really refreshing. Like, you don't say Shiraz and refreshing very often.
No.
But that's a gorgeous wine. And yeah, it
was this wine. This is the 2022 vintage. The 2021, I remember Campbell Mattinson's review, wine writer Campbell Mattinson. He said, well, you can buy 1 bottle of Grange or you can buy 22 bottles of this. And he said, that's all I'll say.
Sold.
Right? Sold. And he did go on to say, though, that it's not a style for everyone, right? If you're a lover of big Aussie Shiraz, look away. Right, so on to the Cabernet.
All right.
Or the Cabernets.
Yes, Cabernets. This is the good part of the tasting. Finally, some real wine.
All this garbage. And now we're going to drink the good stuff. No, Cabernets, this is 82% Cabernet Sauvignon, 18% Cabernet Franc, 100% deliciousness, Wade.
Yes. So anyone who knows me knows my ridiculous love of Yarra Valley Claret. These beautiful perfume, like supple, medium-bodied Cabernet blends. Yeah. It's what the region is probably most famous for. Like, I know brand Yarra Valley Chardonnay and Yarra Valley Pinot is huge, but the greatest wines from this region are almost all Cabernet blends.
Yeah, Quintet, dry red wine.
Yes.
Yarringberg.
Yes. These wines are iconic. Yeah. Well, that was good.
The light just fell, but you know what? We're going to do this one in the dark. So the other thing about this Cabernet, it's the style that Shaun loves. So he said one of his dreams was to bring this kind of style back into back into life, into popularity, but much more accessible price points as well. So similar story to how he makes the other wines. You know, it's a vineyard there about 40 years old in Stills Creek. So warmer site, very lightly handled, about 20% whole bunches, not going too far. You don't want to go too hard on the bunch with Cabernet, or they can get very stalky and green.
Totally.
You know, natural ferment, mostly older oak, and it's just a beautiful, elegant style.
Yeah. So, you know, if you're thinking like classic big Aussie Cabernet, like something out of Pinot Noir, or even the slightly richer, more muscular styles of Cabernet out of Margaret River, this is way more fine bone. It's like, you know, this is kind of like lunchtime claret, like lunchtime drinking red, and beautifully perfumed, really red fruited, more in that sort of red currant and sort of bay leaf sort of spectrum of things, as opposed to like black currant and mint and those sorts of things in Pinot Noir. So
Iron fist in a velvet glove, as they may say.
Oh,
it's got some concentration. It's got layers and detail, but so fresh and elegant. Gorgeous drinking. Shaun, you've nailed it. Guys, great way to wrap up this little deep dive tasting. We can't speak highly enough of the Dappled Wines, of Shaun himself. Great fella. A pleasure to work with. We've loved following his journey, and it's great to see him getting a lot of success and accolades too, because the guy's making some freaking amazing wines at some great prices. And I know for Wade and I, this is one of those labels that we collect ourselves and tuck away, because we're poor, and these are great value.
Yeah, that's it. The pound for pound, I reckon, like dead set, one of the best value producers in Australia for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
He just makes no booze, so no one knows about it really.
Yeah.
But the wines are phenomenal. So
get them while you can. They're never around for long. Support Shaun and Dappled. And guys, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're still watching, the 2 or 3 of you out there, probably mine and Wade's parents.
Hi, Mum.
Watching us. Mum, you've got to subscribe. There's a button on the channel. Just go subscribe. Okay? I'll show you later, but just you'll be number 4. No, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're having a great time putting these videos together. We'd love you to jump along the journey with us. So do that. Support these great producers, and we will see you very, 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 very soon, because you're going to click on the next video.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. See ya.